Hi, Elena. Thank you
Hi,
for joining us. Good to see you again.
good to see you too.
So, why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, what you do, etc.
Sure. I'm from Moldova. I'm currently based in Moldova. I'm the founder of a startup called SelfTalk. We democratize access to cognitive behavioral therapy. So we are building something like Spotify for cognitive behavioral therapy. So we can make access to therapy as easy as listening to music on Spotify. My background is in product management. I used to work in a startup studio in London, and one of our clients became a unicorn there. And I was like, oh, this is not, looks like it's not that hard. So in 2021, I started this journey with my friend Vio. We co-founded SelfTalk, and also we got investment. We moved to Silicon Valley soon, and I was lucky there to meet you and discover Adios.
Pleasure. Okay, so you just finished the Adios Contemplation program. Would you walk us through your journey, if possible, in detail, starting from week one and how you progressed in terms of your thought process as you went through the program?
Sure. When I met you in Silicon Valley, our first discussion made me really curious. Like you felt you had this peace of mind that people aspire to have, or like this stillness inside you. So I joined the program based on this idea that, okay, I will become more peaceful as a result of that. And as I joined in the first week, I could notice in myself this fear of staying with my thoughts for a longer time than maybe 5 minutes. And first trials, they were a bit hard because I could just get lost and, start kind of wanting to distract myself and do something else. So yeah, the first thing I experienced was a fear of really staying with my real thoughts and finding out what's the real answer of some questions I was asking. I think I remember as I went through week 2, I struggled to contemplate on the questions I've set it up in the week 1, and I decided to change them up because I found them quite shallow. And yeah, as I changed the questions, I kind of get more real about my contemplation. I remember even creating an adioscope for why do I contemplate, just for me to understand better why do I do this thing. So my mind wasn't really used with having a structured way of thinking. I was always been this person that I was like, oh, I just need time to think. So I would just love to just stay somewhere or like go somewhere and just get lost into my thoughts.
Okay.
I remember first time when I heard about meditation, I thought meditation is just thinking and like just random thinking. So I was like, I would love meditation because that's just staying with my freestyle thoughts. And when I discovered Adioscope, when I really understood what it's about, that I have to come up with a solution as a result of my thinking for some problems that I'm facing, it kind of felt this resistance of staying within a structure. And I was quite happy to have a structure made by someone else, because that meant like I was just like trust the process and just go with it. It's gonna come to some result in the end, because my mind went away. I just do things my own way.
Okay. You mentioned
Another
about,
thing that I observed, yeah, go on.
no, I was asking, you mentioned fear in the beginning. Was that, what kind of fear was that? Was that fear of discovering something you may not like? Or was it any other kind of fear?
I think it was a fear to criticize myself, or like to find out something that's wrong with myself and face the criticism I have towards myself.
I see.
And by keeping myself distracted through different type of thoughts that I enjoy, this wishful thinking that Elon Musk says, I was just like staying away from facing that pain. And I observed it in the beginning, and I was like, maybe it's not that serious. But as I tried more and more to just stay there with my thoughts and find the answer to a really important problem that it mattered for me, I observed this fear first to find out that maybe something is wrong with me, maybe I'm not good enough to find the answer for that, but also the fear to find the real solution and to start implementing it. Because as soon as you know the real solution, this place where you don't know what to do is very comfortable. You're just like, but I don't know yet, I still have to think. And when you already find a solution, you have to start doing the action. So probably there was also a fear of, like, I was just too comfortable in the space of just looking for answers.
Open-ended.
Yeah. That's a nice space to be in. And when you find the real answer, you have to like start implementing it. Like you cannot bullshit around that, like, it's not the right thing to do. You have to start taking action. So fear was few types of fear. Find out that something is wrong with myself, but also fear of like really getting into the game and implementing the solution.
I see. Okay, go on. What happened after that?
So yeah, I think by week 4, I already started to feel how I really need to forge a structure into my way of thinking, because there was a lot of thoughts, they were totally useless, like just memories from the past. They were not contributing to me finding a solution to a real problem. And being a CEO of a company, there's lots of things going on. There are lots of emotions, my own emotions, the emotions of the team, emotions of freelancers that we work with. So it's an easy way to just lose, like it was for me very easily to just lose myself into thinking about other people and like about situations and reviewing them and stuff like that. But what really mattered, it was the solution. So seeing that I'm not as productive as I want to be, because my thoughts are just too spread around, I could really understand that, I definitely need a structure for my thinking. And I should what's daydream and like do wishful thinking. But whenever I'm at work and I want to solve a problem that's urgent or stuff like that, I really need to forge this new structure and cut out thoughts that are not relevant for the solution. And that was really relevant for my performance at work.
Okay. And did you maintain a journal early on?
I did maintain a journal. And because I'm writing a book right now about science behind self-talk, I had to go through my journal and see what was there a few years ago to just observe how my self-talk progressed. And after trying Adioscope, I could see the difference between my journal and Adioscope. In my journal, there was a space of me I don't know, victimizing myself and like crying out and dramatizing and just putting all the drama from my head into paper. On the other side, on Adioscope, there was this like very intentional way of doing a journal where you have a question, you go through some questions and you come up with an answer by the end of it. And when 2022 ended, I really felt that it's time for me to switch from my current journaling system that I use, the digital journal that I use, to Adioscope. And because I still have, in Adioscope, I still have the space to, share my emotions and do a bit of drama and stuff, but it's in a structure, it's in a framework. Like I have a specific questions where I talk about emotions. The other parts, I think about the solution. So it's not only emotions and situations, and like I would see them quite useless. I couldn't even use anything from my journals for my current book because there was nothing really like content, you know. There was a lot of bias, but there was not real content, real ideas that I could use for my current book. So yeah, also in the business, I was reading last year a book called The Great CEO Within, and they were advising there that the best way to solve solutions at work is to write them down. So whenever like someone in the team comes with specific problems, best way is to write it down in a structured way. So I applied this tool. Like I put some whenever like something would happen in our team after I read that book, and as soon as I meshed it with the knowledge I got from Adios, like right now the way we solve problems in our team is by writing them down, having a written discussion more than a verbal discussion.
I see. So, around what time did that initial fear of not looking at what your thoughts are and not wanting to conform to a structure, around what part of the program did that change? Do you remember where that transition started to occur?
I think it started in week 3. I was already starting because as soon as I learned more and more principles, I had to really stick with the structure. And by as soon as I arrived, like by principle 3 or 4, I was already losing myself into like all type of thoughts. So by week 4, I realized like I can't do this anymore. I really need a structure. And I think in week 5, I joined a Vipassana meditation retreat, and there I had the time to really stay with my thoughts and really observe them. And I could, while meditating there, I could really feel how this new structure is getting ingrained in me. It's forging my brain
I see.
to think in a new way. So step structure.
Okay. All right. So, what happened after that? We were in, I think, week 3 or week 4. What happened after that? Can you hear me?
After that, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
In week, in week 5 or 4, I remember meeting a friend, and I observed in me this like urgency to share. That was also presented in one of the principles. And at that point, it really hit me. I was really questioning, oh my God, have I done it all the time? Was I always this person that kind of almost ignored what the other person what had to share and overshared my inner world just to kind of feel that I'm contributing and I belong to this friendship? So I remember leaving that meeting with my friend being really like contemplating about what just happened.
Okay.
And I like after those weeks, I really start noticing in me and my friends, my co-founder, this urge to share.
Okay.
And I could, but in our discussions, the way we discussed about it, that, you know, like it's better to just integrate a concept first, really feel it, contemplate on it. And whenever I share it, to share it from a deep perspective, to kind of really process those ideas and get them through me before sharing them. And the fact that this activity would make me, or like would make people listen more to my idea, motivated to first I wasn't really aware that this urge to share is something negative. It made me feel important. It made me feel cool. And I was thinking, and they shared, and as soon as I observed that I'm overdoing it without much content, without much substance, it's there where I took a step back. And I remember at some point I felt like, oh wow, I can't think too much, I can't share, I need a structure. So I felt this feeling of being shapeless, or like not being sure how to present myself in the world anymore. But that was a normal challenge. I was just updating my way of being.
I see.
So yeah, there was a new way of, was an upgraded version of myself that needed to integrate this. Okay, what do I want to be in my best version? And this urge to share was something that I didn't want to bring it in that new version. So even now, I'm observing it more and more, like how it comes down, this need to share, because I understand that my worthiness doesn't come from me sharing all the time things, but comes from me contemplating deeply about topics and sharing just the substance, the most meaty part of my thoughts.
Okay. So did that change over after you realized it in week 5, over the next 3 weeks, and today? Do you see a difference?
I definitely see a difference. Yesterday, I met the same friend that I met
Oh, I see.
at that time. And the way this meeting went, I was coming after the meeting with no internal conversations about how much I shared and how much I haven't shared. After the first meeting, I was really into the idea that, oh my God, I overshared. I had this like urgency to overshare just because I was struggling to establish a meaningful connection. And I was kind of filling in the void with thoughts, random thoughts. This time, because there was no this insecurity about like me needing to play a role or like be in a specific way, share stuff, the discussion went much more deep, and like I came out of that with no internal conversations. I came out of that peaceful.
Okay.
And
And yeah, go ahead.
yeah, in this context, I remembered the one thing that made a really big impact on me was, how do you structure your day, or like how do you make choices, choose what makes you more peaceful. And how also that really made a change for me, because now when I'm thinking about, do I want to go out, or do I want to go with these people, or do I want to do this activity, um, this second questions about, will this make me more peaceful, comes up, and it's just very easy to choose. It feels like if I feel it's gonna make me more restless, I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna skip this one. So it makes things very easy to like put them in your agenda or take them out from the agenda.
Does it also help in your work, or is it only in your personal matters?
It especially helps me in my work, specifically when I have to choose to work with some people or not, and I would just uh, add this second question: working with this person, does it make me more peaceful or less peaceful?
I see.
So based on this is like also arranging my agenda, putting some tasks in. Whenever I feel like a task is making me more restless, that's a sign for me that I need to contemplate about that. What's happening for real behind that task? Do I have insecurities about that? Do I judge someone? Do I have a negative voice? So that's an opportunity, or like that's a sign. Maybe I should take it through the Adios.
I see. Okay. And anything else happened after week 5 over week 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, I think like after 6, 7 or something, or I think it was week 7. I remember feeling that contemplation as an activity in itself, it felt like an act of giving for myself. It felt like a gift towards myself, where I can easily sort problems with. So whenever I would have this like really intense challenge at work or in my personal life, I know that there is a technique that I can use to find some solution out. And the drama that I used to feel before, or like that thoughts that like, oh my God, this is going to be so hard, or like this is going to be challenging. Now I know there is another option. Look, you can just take it through the Adioscope, and there's going to be some solutions coming out of there. I really love that part in the Adioscope where like at the end of every principles, you ask, what should you do?
Okay.
And in the end, when you gathered all the answers, I think those answers are the best advice you can get from you from you to yourself. So yeah, I really liked that part. So this contemplation really felt like a gift, especially when I combine it with walking.
With walking.
Yeah, with walking. It was a really beautiful part of my day to just go for a walk and contemplate about what really matters to me. That felt like that time of the day when I would connect with myself for real and really pay attention to my own needs. And yeah, one more thing that I can add here is as New Year was coming, I was usually doing, this like planning and reviewing of the last year and planning of the future, like of the 2023. And also, I think I was doing the week 8 by that time, and I really was marked by a question there. Consciously ask a question. I don't know, when I heard it for the first time, I was like, oh my God, have I ever asked myself a conscious question? And I started to do it while I was planning 2023. I was planning my goals as usual, like I want to do this, I want to do that. And in the end of that process, I asked myself, do I really take responsibility over these plans? And what shocked me was the fact that I couldn't answer straight away. I couldn't say like a very strong yes. Something in me stopped me, and it said, oh, in order for me to answer this like very strong yes, I need to really do a bit more in-depth planning to those goals.
Okay.
Because they were a bit, the goals were a bit unprecise, like they were like a bit shallow planned. And my mind didn't want to answer or like didn't want to lie to myself. I was like, no, like I'm not saying a yes because I know it's a shallow yes. So I remember staying with this question a few nights in a row. I was asking myself conscious questions. What does it really matter to me? Why do I do what I do? So, and I could only let the answers that were coming deep from inside me. Like I could feel what's shallow and what's not. And that made me really happy from one point of view, that I was like, oh, wow. Then if I have this capacity to ask myself conscious questions, and I feel if the answers are shallow or not, then lots of my problems are going to be like easy to solve. Because this depthness of answer, the depthness of the answer really brings solutions that is like you have. I think on the normal basis, I would spend maybe 3-4 weeks to find out a solution like that. And right now, I just feel them from deep within, that's not a shallow answer. That's a deep answer. So in this process of designing a new version of me, I used a new framework. If last year or like the previous years, I was only doing like a list of activities that I want to do, this year I started with what I want to have. I want to have peace of mind. A friend of mine told me at some point that peace of mind is even better than love. And we are designed, or like our home base is to have peace of mind. Our like responsive state, or like the state when we feel the best, it's the peace of mind state. So in the process of designing my new year, I could just feel, okay, I want to have peace of mind. How should I be so I can have it? How should I be, or what should I do so I can have this peace of mind? So I was thinking, I need to be thinking really clearly in my process of thinking, so I can do this business in a way that it doesn't disturb my peace of mind. So there is this new framework of be, do, have that I'm using to plan the new version of me for the next year.
Be, do, have.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you want to be clear in terms of what you do
Yeah,
so that you have peace of mind.
exactly.
And what was it before this?
So before this, I would just be focusing, I would just focus on doing, like, oh, I want to do a business, I want to do a startup. I would never really ask myself, why do I want it? And when I asked it, I was like, oh, because I want to have money. But why do I want money? Oh, because I want to have peace of mind. So I can feel financially secure. And it made sense, like, oh my God, but I'm doing all these things just because I want peace of mind. So let me see, what should I do so I can have this peace of mind? Or like, how should I be so I can have this peace of mind? So the end goal is peace of mind. That means I need to be clear in my thinking while I'll do all the activities in my life. So I don't wait for, I don't wait for like a specific time till maybe I sell my startup or stuff like that to have peace of mind, but I can have it straight away in the process.
So whatever you do on a daily basis, whether in your personal life or working towards your startup, you choose those things in a manner that they give you more peace of mind.
Yeah. And I deeply ask myself, does this brings me more peace
Okay.
or not? Because lots of activities, usually we are just kind of on an autopilot.
Okay.
We just do them. We are not asking, why do I do this? And behind those things, we have a way of being. Like, I want to be more peaceful. I want to be abundant. I want to be loved. But that piece of being is lost in the action. And we continue doing the action. And by the end, when we have to look at the result, we are so lost in doing, so we can forget the being.
And did you find any conflict at any point in time where one of the voices in your head said, yes, I want to be peaceful, but then the other voice said, no, but you still have to do this? Was there any time where you had a conflict like this?
I did had a conflict like that, especially in the beginning. I wasn't aware of how important it is to have peace of mind. I was also thinking, oh, but I also want to have adventures. I also want to have intense moments. I also want to have love and like lose my mind in love and stuff like that. I was thinking, it was a shallow thinking about what really matters to me. And I wasn't deeply understanding what peace of mind is. Peace of mind doesn't cancel all the other emotions. It just it makes them it makes the space clear to enjoy those emotions. We can't really enjoy love or enjoy other moments when we have lots of negative thoughts in our mind judging the experience in itself. So the way I perceive the peace of mind, why it is important, is because it creates that space where the pure emotions or like the really nice moments, the really nice experiences can be felt fully with no additional poison or like negative thoughts from our mind.
Okay. Anything else? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, initially I wasn't, as I mentioned, I wasn't fully aware of how this is important. And what really helped me was to trust the process. I really avoided to question the process itself. Also because I met you and I could feel it. I could feel this peace that you have it inside you. This really helped me to trust the process. And even if at some point my mind was like, oh, I have no time for that. Oh, this is too hard. Oh, but why should I do it? I chose consciously to ignore those things and to just work towards a better future, even if it didn't come naturally. Because it's a habit that we need to install in our mind. And as any habit, it doesn't come, like this straight away. It needs time to be, to really shape a new pathway in our brain. So having that patience uh, was really paid off by the end of the program. really paid off. And what's next for me is to much deeper way. The principle that is like the hardest for me, that's the one that is most challenging for me right now is this one with the speed of speech. I'm used to speak very fast, and now I'm training myself to just the speed of my speech. I could, with time, I could observe that this need to speak very fast comes from some insecurities of like not being listened to, or that I will not be able to share enough to be appreciated. But this is about the past. The current, present, and the future shouldn't be shaped by what happened in the past. So from now, I'm like focusing deep to one principle at a time till I integrate it deeper into who I am.
Sorry, Elena, I lost you for some time. Could you please repeat? You
Yeah,
said
but
you're going
I
to
think
do.
my microphone, yeah, my microphone recorded it, so probably I will send you the recording.
Okay, all right. All right, so I think what I heard last is you plan to continue to work on reducing your speed of speech.
Yeah.
And did you also say the pitch of speech?
That too. I haven't mentioned it, but you reminded me that it's something important to work on. I remember listening to the master class of Chris Voss. He's one of the world leading experts on negotiations. And he mentions that in negotiations, the voice that works the best, it's this low pitch, like slower voice. This means that we perceive this type of voices as being more confident, and in negotiations, most of the time, this plays a big role. So, considering that fundraising is coming and there's lots of things to negotiate with the startup, that's a really important priority for me, to present myself in a way that brings me the most results in negotiations.
Okay, so I wish you all the best for that. And you said your book is about to be released. When is that?
Yeah, the release is on the 1st of February. The book is called SelfTalk,
Okay,
The Science and Practice of Creating Peace of Mind.
okay,
Me and my co-founder, we researched the science behind what means to be peaceful, how this impacts our body, but also we've included a set of tools that can be applied to faster get to the state of peace of mind, especially from emotional crisis. We don't want to stay in a breakup like 2 years, affected by a breakups 2 years, or like if we have a fight with someone, we don't want to talk to that person for like months and months. So we are presenting some tools that would still help us process those emotions of anger, guilt, shame, but get to the state of being peaceful a bit faster than usual.
wonderful. So I wish you all the best for your startup and your book. Thank you so much for spending so much time. Honored to know you and to have met you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tarun. I really appreciate what you are that you are sharing your wisdom with the world. I think we deeply need it, especially right now when mental health it's a big challenge that we are facing. And I'm really glad that programs like yours exist, and I think they're really, really useful, especially for the kids that are really distracted. But not only, but I think kids, they need it a lot to learn how to stay with themselves. So when they become adults, they don't go through the same hardships that we are going right now of not being able to stay with ourselves at least 30 minutes per day. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you so much. I'll do my best. Thank you, Elena, and I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I just close it, yeah?